Okay, good morning. Oh, 8:30 a.m. live on the internet. Does anyone have an eye cream? If you haven't met me before, hi, I'm Scotty. Welcome. We're gonna start lying down on the back, so you won't need any props in particular. I just got a thumbs up from somebody. I don't exactly know why that is, but thanks, Sarah. Oh, hey, Indu. Oh, cool. Nice to see you all. Okay, so we'll lie down to begin. Set your feet underneath your knees so that they're relatively close to your buttock, but you're not like pulling them in as tight as you can toward your body. And then take your attention to your tailbone, which is the very base of your spine, and you're going to turn your tailbone down toward the floor. This will overarch your lower back. And then turn your tailbone up toward the ceiling, and that will round your lower back, or probably imprint, we'll call it, and then go back and forth. Tailbone turns down as you inhale. And then use your exhale to turn your tailbone up and round your lumbar spine against the floor. Do it about 3 more times. Get into a steadier breath pacing. And give yourself more space to move more smoothly. Be more patient as you move your body, as you take up space in your body. Then the next time that you're about halfway between, you're gonna pause. So your low back is light against the floor, meaning it's just a little bit spacious, there's a little bit of curve there. Now lift your right leg up to tabletop and make a figure 4 of your right ankle to your left knee. And then notice that your pelvis wants to sway to the left and lengthen your left side waist. So you move your whole pelvis a little to the right of where it wants to be at this moment. And then tilt your right knee wider to the right, so that the skin of your inner right knee is rolling toward the skin of the outer knee. And your left outer buttock is still anchored to the floor. Now keep the figure 4 and tip the whole shape to your left. So the sole of your right foot will literally stand on the floor beside your mat. Your right kneecap should point toward the ceiling. And then if it's possible, take your arms up alongside your ears and hook your thumbs. So thumb pads connected. You're gonna lengthen your fingertips, the fingernails, along the floor above your skull. So not off the floor, but slide them further along the floor. And then press your right knee more away from your chest. So inner right knee toward outer right knee. Right side waist gets long. Make your arms straighter. And then take a little side bend. Send all your fingertips a little to the left. Your arms a little to the left. And keep your right knee moving away from your chest. Take another breath like this. And then you'll center your upper body, center your figure 4 legs, and lift them up off the ground, but don't change your arms. So the arms are still straight, the backs of the hands are on the floor behind you. Now lift your arms up more overhead, and then press your right knee more away from your chest, and pull your left knee more into your right ankle. So it's figure 4, thread the needle, but with no hands. Pull your left knee closer. It should feel like a little bit of abdominal work and hip flexor action. And then widen your right knee just with the strength of your will. You don't have a hand there to help you. Make your body longer from middle fingers to tailbone. Take another deep breath. And then stand your left foot on the floor. Send your right leg straight to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers behind the right hamstrings. More middle of hamstring, not so much at the knee. And then slide your left leg straight if it feels good for you, and keep it bent if it doesn't so much. Flex both feet. Try to straighten both knees. And keep pressing the right thigh into the hands. And then could you let your low back get lighter? So think tailbone down. You won't arch your back, most likely, but move it in that direction. Take one more breath like this. Move your right thigh into the barrier of your hands. Alright, and then just draw the knees in for a moment. Circle or rock or whatever. And then you'll set your right foot flat and figure 4 left ankle to right thigh. Feel the pelvis trying to sway to the right and bring it back to the left a little bit. So your right side waist lengthens. And then tilt your left knee open to the left to external rotation without the pelvis swaying to the right. And then keeping all of that, tip the shape to the right. So your left foot stands on the floor. Your arms are gonna go up alongside your ears. You're gonna hook your thumbs the other way. Make your arms as straight as you can. Press your left inner knee toward your left outer knee. And then make your side waist longer. And you'll start to bend your body a little to your right. So really straight elbows, pulling on your thumb tips. Make your body longer and use your breath. Take one more cycle like this. And then keeping the figure 4 shape, bring your legs to center and float the right leg to a tabletop. So it's a tabletop meets a figure 4. And then you're gonna widen your left knee to the left. Bring your right knee more in towards your chest, like into the ankle. And then make your arms straighter and pull your arms back behind you more. So it should feel like a little bit of abdominal work. It's not really the aim, but just think about it. Wide left knee, right knee pulling in. Side body longer. Take another breath like this. Backs of the hands right on the floor if you can. And then you'll set your right foot down, send your left leg straight up. Interlace your fingers behind the hamstrings. Right leg, bottom leg straightens if you did last time. Push left leg into your hands. Flex both of your feet. And then make your low back lighter. So tailbone turns toward the floor. It really won't go far. Just think about it. And then could you breathe more? Last breath here. Low back, relatively light. Alright, and then you're gonna draw your knees towards your belly. And take a moment and circle or rock or whatever you feel like you need to do. In the next few breaths, you'll begin to make your way up toward a seated position. Come all the way upright, and if you'd like to have a block for under your seat, then do that. But sit up tall so that your hips, if possible, are a little bit higher than your knees. And You're gonna start, we'll dissect this little arm variation you're gonna play with a few times today. So I want you to take your arms, palms out in front of you, and maybe I'll come closer to the camera for this. Palms out in front of you, and you're gonna hook your left fingers in the webbing of your right fingers. So you've got one hand spread really, really wide, like spikes, and then the other hand really tightly gripping the fingers of the spread hand. So it's just a bit of a funny variation that you may never have done before, some of you. And then from here, you'll take your arms straight up overhead and really, really, really lift your shoulders. So your elbows are straight, and your right fingers, maybe I'll face you, sorry. Your right fingers are pulling up into your left fingers, and then you're gonna pull with your right fingers and take a side bend to your right, but a little bit forward so that you're more on the diagonal. Make your right finger sharper, and consider that it's your right fingers pulling on your left arm. Take one more breath like this. And then come up to center, spread all fingers evenly, so hands separate for a sec, and then hook your left fingers in the webbing of your right fingers, pull upward, get longer, and then side bend to your left. It occurs to me I may not be mirroring this well, so hopefully you ended up in the other side of whatever you're supposed to be doing. Pull with the fingers that are straight on the fingers that are hooked. Take one more breath like this. And you'll come up to center, spread all your fingers evenly, and then take your arms into cactus. So your arms are really, really wide, elbows directly beside the shoulder sockets if possible. Tip your elbows forward and your chest open, so it becomes a bit of a back bend. It'll be a cow variation for this morning. Take another breath in like this. And then you're gonna make fists of your hands. You're gonna turn your cactus arms upside down so that your fist points toward the floor and your elbows are still right where they started. And then let your shoulders round more. So this will be your cat pose for this morning. Now you're gonna go back and forth. Take an inhale and open your chest and spread your fingers, cow spine with cactus arms, and then exhale, make fists and round your shoulders completely forward. Knuckles turn toward the space behind you. Do it again. Inhale through cactus arms, open chest. Wait for your exhale, make fists, turn your arms upside down. Now as you breathe in this time, bring your arms to robot. So you'll have your elbows right in by your sides, and you'll turn your palms face up. And then as you exhale, you'll take your arms wide and squeeze your shoulder blades back, but keep your elbows in really, really tight towards your sides. Take another breath like this, feel your shoulder blades squeezing together. And then lower your arms down for a second, breathe out. Now inhale, take your arms straight up. Hook right fingers in the left finger webbing, pull up with your left arm and breathe in. And then you'll side bend, go forward and a little to the front, so diagonal. As you inhale, come up through center, spread fingers evenly, hook right fingers in left finger webbing, go the other way. As you breathe in, come up to center. Spread your fingers evenly, exhale to cactus arms. Take an inhale here and open your chest more. And then make fists and turn your cactus arms upside down. Twice more. You're going to inhale through cactus, open your chest. You're going to exhale to make fists and turn your cactus arms upside down. Once more like this. Inhale, open chest, cactus arms. And then exhale, make fists, turn your cactus arms upside down. Now inhale, you'll come to robot. Palms face up. Exhale, pull your arms out beside you, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Take a breath in, stay here. And then just lower your arms down. Breathe in, take your arms straight up. Hook the left fingers in the right finger webbing, side bend. Center as you inhale. Just switch. Center, inhale. Cactus, exhale. Stay breathing in, back bend. Make fists, connect them, the fingers tightly around your shoulders and your knuckles underneath. Inhale, robot arms. Exhale, palms face up, sweep your arms wide to the sides. Turn like a W. Take an inhale here. And then let your arms lower down. Last time. Breathe in, take your arms up. Left fingers to the right. Center. Go the other way. Center. Cactus. Exhale. Take your breath in, stay and open your chest. Fist, turn upside down, round your shoulders, exhale. Robot arms, inhale. Exhale, sweep your arms wide to the side, squeeze your shoulder blades back, stay here and breathe in. And then just lower your arms down by your sides. Take a moment, sit tall, set your shoulders a little back, maybe set your palms in your lap. And you draw your skull back so your head is right over top of your center. Can you stabilize your attention to the pacing of the breath? The main focus would be to keep this more steady pace throughout the whole practice. And now that none of us are in a hot room, it's far more accessible to actually maintain that. So you might notice that my classes will include some things that I might not have taught you in the hot room. So all of this can be taken at your pace. You don't have to do anything. Nothing should be painful. So if you're feeling muscular effort and it's challenging, that's probably what you're supposed to be feeling. If something's painful in your joint or your spine or something, stop doing it and take rest and do whatever you need to keep yourself in a place where you feel supported and where you're moving from a place of intention. So you can blink your eyes open. If you haven't already, you'll come into a down dog facing whatever direction makes sense for you as far as your space is concerned and if you need to be able to see your camera. So take a few breaths in down dog and move around. Pedal your feet, move your hips around as you need to. Now, tuck your chin, come to center, if you haven't already, come to center and down dog. Tuck your chin, and then round yourself forward into a plank pose. That's also a slight cat spine, so a little bit rounded, chin to chest. Look at your wrists, and make sure your shoulder bones are not out past your wrist right now. So even like my stance is just a little long for my general liking here. So shoulders right over wrists. Heels right over big toe ridges, and then look a little forward, open the throat, so it's just a regular plank pose, and then lower yourself slowly to your belly. Use your knees if you need them. You're going to keep your hands right over there and lift your heart up to a cobra. So, whatever size makes sense to you, but the front of your pelvis should be heavy, pubic bone into the mat. So your glutes are actually on here, your low belly has a bit of a lift, and the space of your upper back is where you should feel effort. So wide collarbones, your head should be a little bit lifted. Look forward, take another deep breath in here. And then you're to go through bent knees, tuck the toes straight to downward dog, hips go up and back. Take a deep breath. Full exhalation. Now lift your right leg. Bring your knee in toward your chest. You'll come a little forward toward plank, and then you're gonna make figure four, right ankle on left thigh, and then press your buttocks up and back. So you're in a down dog with figure four leg, right ankle, left thigh. And then you're gonna draw forward as if toward plank. Listen, this is a bit strange. You're gonna put your figure four shape down on the mat. So if your right knee is really like no thank you, you can just do a regular tabletop and skip this. If it's possible, you've still got the figure 4 now in a tabletop. So your right toes are tucked if possible. Your right kneecap should be pointing out to the right side of your mat, and then come up to tented fingertips if you can, and take a cow spine as you inhale, so you'll do a back bend. And then push into the ground, round into a cat spine, even pushing your right foot and knee down into the floor. Do it again, come to cow and breathe in. And then cat spine as you breathe out. Again, like this. Cat spine, exhale. Now come through neutral. You're going to ground your palms a little more steadily. Lift your left knee and pull your right knee to your chest. So you're suddenly just in a regular plank pose with your knee to your belly, and then step your right foot forward. Tap your right knee down, come to all your fingertips and bend your right knee generously. Now if you have blocks or books, you can put them under your hands here if you need to. Keep the back knee down for this one, straighten just your front leg. And then this is a bit strange, so you may need to look at the camera. If you can listen well, it might work, but it's a bit weird. Take your right fingers further down the side of the mat, so about halfway. And then take your left hand and hold on to your right outer foot. So you're literally clasping the pinky edge of your right foot with your left fingers. And then turn your body a little to your right. So your right toes are gonna turn out. Your right kneecap is gonna turn to the side. Your chest is gonna turn itself over top of your right thigh and more towards your right fingers. And then wiggle a little bit. If you straighten the knee out more, it'll feel more interesting, probably. If you bend it more, it'll feel interesting for different reasons. Try spreading the right toes and creating more action between the hand and the foot. So foot pressing into fingers, fingers pulling on the foot. Now, it gets just a little bit weirder. So you're gonna turn your toes back forward. You're gonna step on your own left fingers. So you're in a lunge with your left fingers underfoot. And then straighten both legs if you can, come to pyramid pose. Your right fingers are still out beside you on the floor. If the left fingers underfoot doesn't feel good, just put them on the floor, or put them back to the left, or put them on a block. Now what if you wiggle from here? So you're in a strange pyramid pose. Fingers under the shoulder, or under the foot, sorry. Hug your right hip in, maybe straighten your right knee more. Okay, now you're gonna rebend your right knee, turn all your toes to the left side of your mat, and face the left edge of your mat with your fingers under your shoulders. So maybe not the best vantage point I could have given you for the first side of this sequence, but have your fingers under your shoulders. You're gonna straddle in your legs, take a deep breath in. If possible, you'll empty through your mouth. Empty completely, round forward. You're gonna see if you can pause on empty, and then crawl your fingertips forward onto the floor out in front of you, staying empty. You'll feel belly suction. When you need to breathe, breathe in. Stay in this, we'll call this down dog straddle. So your fingertips are way forward, your legs are quite straight if possible. Feet are strongly gripping the ground. Also, if you happen to be pregnant, or if you have low blood pressure, don't do the empty breath work. If you had a big meal before this, you're not gonna wanna do it. Take another breath like this, down dog straddle. And you'll walk your hands back in underneath of your shoulder sockets. Turn to the front of your mat, as simple as possible, step to a down dog. Push into your palms, send your hips way back, take a deep breath. Exhale steadily. You're gonna tuck your chin, use your breath into plank pose. Wait for the breath out, begin to lower, go super, super slow on the way down. Feet press heavy behind you, low cobra pose, inhale. Just lower your spine as you exhale. Twice more. Lift, fill your lungs, look a little forward. Exhale to lower, right to the front of your body. Once more, cobra pose. Now through bent knees, the exhale takes you to down dog. Left leg lifts. Pull the knee into the chest. Hook the left ankle on the right thigh, figure 4. Send your butt way up and back. Push strongly into your hands. And then shift a little forward like you're gonna come to plank, and then put your left big toe on the mat, your left knee on the mat to the left, and then the right knee, still with the figure 4 connection, ankle to the right knee. Now turn to fingertips and take a cow spine. And then push into the floor round and take a cat spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale to cat. Once more like this. Push the ground away. Round spine. Now come back through neutral, flat palms. Pull left knee to chest, straighten the back legs. You're in a plank pose. You're going to step inside your left thumb. Come to all fingertips and bend your left knee a lot. Lifting the chest without coming off the fingers. And then you're going to straighten your front leg, so it's a half split pose. This is relatively simple. You can stay here if the next thing is too weird. Put your left fingers down the left edge of the mat, probably about halfway. Catch the pinky edge of your left foot with your right fingers. Hold tight. And then turn the toes, the knee, the chest, the head, all to the left. So you're in this kind of weird twisted half split pose with the hand connected to the foot. Wiggle a little bit, see what happens. What happens when you straighten your knee? What happens when you bend it more? And then you're going to turn everything forward. And you can stay in that one if this next one doesn't work so well. Literally step on your right fingers with your left foot. Straighten both of your knees, so it's a pyramid pose. And then turn your body again toward the left and move around a little bit. Keep the fingers trapped underneath the foot. And then from here, you're going to rebend your left knee, turn everything to your right. Put your fingertips under your shoulders, straddle in your legs, take a deep breath in. Completely empty. Shh. All of the breath out. Shh. On empty, wait for it. Crawl your fingers out to the wood in front of you or whatever's in front of you. Stay empty for a moment if you can. When you need to breathe, steady. Push into the finger pads, make your legs straighter, stronger. Feel the outer sitting bones drawing toward each other. Don't stick them apart. Don't stick your butt up and back. Put a little containment there. Now, keeping your fingers where they are if possible. Take an inhale where you are. And then as you exhale, just bend your right knee. You'll come to center, straighten both legs, and then bend your left knee. In the center as you inhale. Crawl the fingers back towards your left foot, step to down dog, simple as possible. Push strongly into your hands and your hips way back, take a deep breath. Steady exhale. Tuck the chin, you're gonna round forward toward plank pose. Look forward, open the throat, exhale to the floor. Rest your feet behind you, low cobra pose as you inhale, lift your heart through the knees, tuck the toes, down dog as you exhale. Lift your right leg, big breath in. Bring knee toward chest as you exhale. You're gonna make the figure 4, right ankle, left thigh, inhale. You're gonna stick your butt back and take your exhale here in down dog. Take another breath, push the floor away from you. You're gonna draw forward, breathing in. Pull your right knee to your belly and step between your hands. Back knee down, come to your fingertips and inhale. And then straighten your front leg as you exhale. Right fingers come further back, left hand catches the foot. You're gonna inhale, bend the right knee. Exhale, straighten the leg and turn your body to the right. Again like that, come forward, bend your right knee. And then exhale to straighten the leg, shift your hips back. Bend the right knee. If possible, lift the back knee, straighten both legs. Take a breath like this, wave your spine up a little. Your chin, you're gonna round into plank pose. Open throat, lower to the ground as you exhale. Hands stay where they are, cobra pose, take an in-breath. Through the knees, tuck the toes, downward dog, exhale. Left leg lifts. Bring knee to chest. Figure 4, left ankle, right thigh. Exhale, stick your butt way back. Take another breath, make your arms stronger. Breathing in, shift forward. Step to your left thumb, tap your back knee, lift your chest. As you straighten the front leg, take left fingers further back, right hand catches outer foot. Inhale, you're gonna bend your left knee and rock forward. Exhale, you're gonna straighten your left knee and shift back. Again, like that. Now bend the knee. Straighten both legs if you can. Strange pyramid pose. Take an inhale, wave your spine up a bit. Exhale, wave your spine down a bit. And bend the knee. Turn to your right, put your fingers under your shoulders. Take an inhale here. Empty. Shh. All of your breath out. Shh. On empty, fingers crawl forward. Stay for a moment. When you need to breathe in, breathe in. Bend the right knee as you exhale. Center. Bend the left knee. Center. Turn to the front of your mat, ground your palms. Step back to downward facing. Take a deep breath here. Any kind of sound. Tuck your chin, round plank pose. Lower, exhale. Hands under your shoulders, lift your heart, cobra pose. Now keep your heart lifted, keep your shoulders like cobra pose. I'm gonna ask you to do this with your knees down, you can decide, but hover to chaturanga. Shoulders of cobra are the shoulders of chaturanga. Be very clear about that. Now put your belly and hips back on the ground, simple cobra. Hover your palms this time. Keep your shoulder blades lifted. Palms right under the elbows, right where they were, just hovering off the floor. And then push them down, hover your body to chaturanga. Use your knees if you know you need them. Body back to the floor, cobra, hover the palms. Now maybe with straight legs this time, try hovering chaturanga, full chaturanga with the legs straight. And then let your body come down for a sec. Hover your hands. One more time. Press into your hands, hover chaturanga, be there briefly. And then straighten your arms, plank pose. And then go to down dog. Push your hands strongly into the floor. Send your thigh bones way back. And you begin to walk your feet towards your hands. So top of your mat, have your feet hip distance or together. Maybe some water. And then, if possible, set the backs of your hands beside your feet. So your palms face up, your elbows will bend towards your fingertops. And this I do often in Uttanasana coming out of Surya A. So if you want to use that, you can use that, and that's up to you. Now bend your knees more, roll your spine up, or hinge up, if that's what feels better for you. Stand tall. And make sure your feet are set mindfully for you. So hips width is where mine are at this moment, but you can do what feels best for you. Take your hands to hold your pelvis for a sec. Turn your tailbone to the back of the room and overarch your lumbar spine. And then don't do that. Turn your tailbone underneath of you and tuck and round your lumbar spine, and don't do that either, but closer to that. So come through the middle, flesh the buttocks slightly down. Front of the pelvis slightly up. So you're not spilling, you're not tucking, you're somewhere in the middle where there's a lot of engagement. You'll have to think about it in order to keep your pelvis doing, let's say, Tadasana pelvis. Now exhale with your arms down. As you breathe in, arms forward and up, let your shoulders lift, don't pull them down. Fold and keep the legs tense. So you might have straighter legs for this, you might not, but if possible, play with it. Come up halfway, horizontal, and then step to plank pose. Breath in, you'll shift a little forward, and breath out, you'll try to lower. Try to pause, chaturanga, empty. Point your feet, do whatever you need to upward facing dog or cobra. Stand in your hands strongly. Tuck your chin and round your shoulders. Come up through a plank into a down dog. And then stay in down dog and push. Push into your hands, push into your feet, send your hips way back. And then push for a steadier attention of just staying with your breath. Bringing each cycle of breath to completion. So full lungs briefly, empty lungs briefly. Eventually come to stillness. Your next breath in, lift your heels, look forward. Bend your knees deeply, step or lightly spring. Front of your mat, you'll take halfway lift. Exhale, fold, maybe backs of your hands come down. You could even stay empty on your way, hinging upward. Arms go up, you'll breathe in. Join the palms as you exhale, Tadasana. And do it all again. Take your arms up, one deep breath in. Keep the buttock firm as you're folding, especially if you got straighter legs. Halfway lift, long spine. Step the other foot first or hop. Push through the toes, back bend as you inhale. Round spine to lift up, downward dog. If possible, find stillness. Push the ground away. Get more in tune with the pacing of your breath. And don't make it about scolding yourself when you get distracted. Just recognize how easy it is to get distracted and zero back in. So I'm going to give you about 3-ish minutes to continue through 3 more cycles of this sequence. So sun salutation A, you can lift your heels and then bend your knees and step or hop. In front of your mat, you'll take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Maybe empty. Come up to stand. When your arms go, you breathe in. And join your palms. Now, if you're feeling tired, don't do it. Let's do something else. Take rest. Take child's pose. If you can, stick with steady pace. Familiar movements. Try not to skimp on staying in down dog. So with some of these things that get repeated quite often, the whole thing is strangely monotony. That monotony can actually be quite hypnotic. So you're getting into the groove of steady pace breath and letting go of whatever else might take your attention. Now you'll do 2 more on your own. I won't cue the next 2 rounds. You can skip them. You could go play with a handstand instead of doing this if you want to. So something in the realm of Sun A. Down dog, 3 or 5 breaths. So 1 more optional cycle. So take your last hold in down dog, or skip it and rest instead. And then meet me at the top of your mat. You can forward fold, do the wrist stretch again, backs of the hands down, or you can put them underneath your feet if you wanted to. Drop your brain down. And then from here, release the hands, circle the wrists or something, and roll yourself toward a standing position. Feet can be together or hip width. Let your arms fall down by your sides. You're gonna bend your knees, take chair pose. So hips low, arms really reach up. You're gonna fold as you exhale, maybe with straighter legs, maybe not. No. Come on. Halfway lift. And then step or hop through vinyasa. Back bend. Round spine to lift to downward facing dog. You're gonna lift your right leg up. Bring your knee to your chest, step right in between your hands. Put your back heel down and come up toward warrior two. So arms stretch really long, right knee bends deeply. You're gonna take exalted warrior from here. Keep the bending of your front knee quite deep. Make your back leg quite straight. And then come up through center. Tilt your body a little bit forward, side angle pose. Elbow to inner knee, left arm goes up and over the ear. Pull your right buttocks more underneath of you. Make your left arm longer, and then option, hold the base of your skull with your left hand, head pressing into the hand quite strongly. Take another breath, back leg straight. You're gonna look down, frame the front of your mat, step to plank pose, take an inhale, vinyasa, or skip it. Round spine to lift, downward facing dog. Take your left leg up. Step right between your hands. Back, heel down. Warrior two. Wide left knee. Right over its ankle. Take exalted warrior. Not much pressure on the back leg. Come back through the center. Tilt left pelvis lower, side angle pose. So left buttocks hugging underneath of you. Right arm really lifts, or you add the hold of the head. So another little fold is added. Press head into hand, turn the chest a little more open to the right. But keep your left buttocks pulling in. You're gonna look down, frame the front of the mat, step back, plank pose, take vinyasa or skip it. Back bend as you inhale. Round spine lifts you up, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Some kind of sound. Lift your right leg strongly. Step between your hands. Back heel down, warrior two. Exhale, settle deeply. Breathing in, exalted. And then side angle pose, super smooth. Take whatever variation, take one breath. Inhale, you're gonna plant your palms. Chaturanga, exhale, maybe right away if you skip it. Back bend. Round spine to lift you up. Left leg lifts. Step between your hands. Back heel down, warrior two. Exhale, settle strong. Breath in to exalted. And then side angle. Breathe out. Take whatever variation. One breath. Look down. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Maybe, maybe not. Back bend. From the belly, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Step between your hands. Back heel down, inhale up. Exhale, settle, warrior two. Exalted, inhale. Side angle pose, super smooth transitions. You're gonna look down, plank pose. Chaturanga, or skip it. Back bend. Round to lift, left leg goes up.
Knee to chest, step between your hands. Back heel down, warrior two. Exhale, settle deeply. Exalted, breath in. Side angle, super, super smooth. Inhale, hands down. Chaturanga, maybe, maybe not. Back bend. Round to lift. Downward facing dog. You're gonna lift your right leg, listen, it's different. Bring your knee to your right thumb. Toes point back, left diagonal. Back knee is gonna come down. I know you heard different things about with pigeon poses, front leg. I'm suggesting pointed foot. And then walk your hands in closer. If you can, you're gonna stand upright. So upright pigeon pose. Pull front shin toward back knee, like a scissor squeeze of the legs. And then take your arms up and hook your left fingers in the webbing of your right fingers and lift your arms up more. Pull with your right fingers strongly and start to side bend to the front right corner of the room. Think of pulling the back knee forward and lifting the front of the pelvis. Now come up through center, spread all fingers evenly. If possible, straighten your back leg. And this might be a bit weird, but lift your arms up, do a bit more back bend, but from strength of belly, not collapse of lower back. Last breath like this. You're gonna lower your fingertips, front edges of your mat, flex your right foot but don't move it. If possible, you're gonna lift your back leg and straighten both of your knees, coming into a cross-legged pyramid pose. Push your hands toward the front of the space and pull your hips further back. Take one more breath like this. Now you're gonna rebend your right knee. Plant your right palm a little further forward than maybe where it was. Walk your right foot out onto the wood to the left. Turn your back heel down and then stretch your left arm straight out. So you're gonna fall in triangle variation. You might take your left hand behind your head. You might turn your whole pelvis more toward the ceiling. And if your right wrist disagrees with anything here, listen to it and find a way to support yourself. You could put your right knee right underneath your hip and take a modified variation of side plank. Take another deep breath like this. You're gonna look down, ground your left palm, take your right leg up, three-legged dog. You can bend the knee, open the hip, or whatever you like to do there. Square it off, straighten the leg. And then bring your knee towards your chest and step between your hands. Back heel comes down, warrior two. Bend the knee deeply, settle strongly. Exalted, just a breath. Side angle pose. Now look to the front right corner of your mat. You're moving toward half moon. So block under the right fingers would be very helpful. You can do whatever you need there. Put more bend in your right knee than you'd ever think for half moon, like way more bend. And then widen your right knee toward the right edge of your mat. Keep that. Right buttocks hugs in, left leg lifts, left arm lifts maybe. And then you might get lighter on your right fingers. Stretch your lifted leg longer. Maybe your standing leg straightens more. Keep the standing leg kneecap from caving in. Take one more breath like this. Don't think about this too much. Turn your hips more to square. Bend both of your knees. Step forward. Take a halfway lift. And then round, fold, sigh, or whatever. Come up like chair pose. And then right ankle, left thigh, figure four. Hands together. You can stay upright. My suggestion for this morning is put your hands down. A block is super helpful here. Send your hips back and a little to the right. Flex your right toes if you can and pause. If you want to play with the arm balance, you're welcome to. So you put your elbows in front of your shins, set your hands down and shift your weight towards your hands. Your left foot might float. It doesn't have to. If you're staying in the forward fold, it's nice and stretchy. Give it a few cycles if you feel okay. If you let your head hang down, it'll probably feel more interesting. Now if you are arm balancing, start to bring yourself back down. You'll come slowly upright. Send your right leg forward, and then place your foot down, fold over your legs. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Come up halfway. Step, take a vinyasa or skip it. Downward facing will meet. You're gonna lift your left leg toward pigeon, knee to left thumb. Point the toes back into the right, back knee comes down. Come up to tented fingers, you can stay there. If you can't stand on your shin and left knee, like upright pigeon, take your arms straight up. Right fingers hook the left finger webbing, left fingers straighten and sharpen and lift up. And then side bend, you won't go far with this, but side bend to the left. Think of low belly pulling up. Think of back knee pulling forward and front shin pulling back. The next breath, come up through center. All fingers spread evenly. Maybe try straightening your back leg. Lift the low belly, make the back thigh powerful. Take another breath. And you're going to lower your hands. Don't move the left foot, but flex it. And then try lifting the left knee, straighten both legs. So it's a cross-legged pyramid pose. Push your hands into the floor, send your hips way back. Then you're going to bend your left knee again, place your left palm flat, maybe a little bit further forward, wiggle your left foot to the right, turn your back heel down, take your right arm up. Right hand might go behind the head, doesn't have to. Pull your left shoulder back, turn your whole pelvis more toward the ceiling. Last breath. You're going to look down, place your right palm, send your left leg up, three-legged dog. Step between your hands. Back heel down, warrior two. Exhale, settle. Passing through exalted, breathe in. Side angle, breathe out. Take a breath here. You're gonna look down, left fingers to the corner of the mat or on a block, back leg lifts. Put more bend in your left knee, your standing leg, than you'd ever think. Inner left knee toward outer left knee, then lift your back leg more. Lift your right arm if you like. Straighten your standing leg more if you like. Really long lifted leg, last breath. Now slow, turn the hips square, step forward, bend both knees. Halfway lift, sigh or whatever. Come up like chair pose, and then left ankle, right thigh. Now do what you did last time. My suggestion is to make it a forward fold. That's more about exploring the outer left hip. If you want to make it the arm balance, take your elbows under your shins, set your hands on the floor, shift your weight into your hands, and your arms will end up in kind of like a high chaturanga. So not 90-degree elbows, much above that, but in that direction. If you can flex the left toes more, do that. Take one more breath here. If you're flying, come back down. Start to make your way up. See if you can straighten your lifted leg. And then place your foot down, lower your arms down. Take a moment, Tadasana. You're gonna bend your knees and breathe in. And fold as you exhale. You lengthen, step back, hop, take no vinyasa, go to down dog, do whatever you need. From down dog, widen your feet to the edges of your mat. Walk your hands back between your feet and come to squat. So elbows inside the shins, hands come together, lift your chest. If you like playing with arm balance and you didn't get a moment in that optional one, Bakasana would be the most familiar / comfortable. Well, this is technically Kakasana, but we won't get into that right now. So crow pose versus crane pose. Crow pose has bent elbows, crane pose has straighter elbows. If you're quite familiar with it, go with whichever you want, but otherwise try crow. It's generally a little easier. Or stay in the squat. And in the next few breaths, as simply as you can, land from your arm balance if you're up there, And then take a hand behind you so you can sit comfortably. Come onto your bum, and then you will come onto your back if you have a block handy, or if you have something that you're going to use as a block for supported bridge if you want one, you can do that. You can use pillows if you want to. So I'll cue wheel pose, so you can follow me if you want, or you can look at me first and see if you're not quite sure. You can decide. You can do simple bridge pose, bound fingers, simple like that. Otherwise, listen or watch first as you prefer. Take your arms straight up. Extend your wrists so your palms face the ceiling like you're gonna do a plank pose on the ceiling, and then bend your elbows. Set your hands on either side of your head. Widen the hands, if you can, and turn the fingers out a little to the side edges of the mat, and then lift your hips and come up through the crown of your head, but do not turn your head if you are on it, and then hover it and start to straighten your arms. And some of you will straighten your legs as well, and you'll shift your heart more over your hands. And you push the ground away and let your shoulders do what naturally happens when you push. They'll lift. So you might take 5 to 8 breaths up here. When you're ready, tuck your chin. See if you can come down to the space between your shoulder blades. Gently move your wrists and try not to pull your knees right into your belly. Immediate counter posing, not always actually what you need. It can feel very gratifying, I get it. But everything I've been taught suggests give it a second. After coming out of a peak like wheel pose, what can you do to regulate your energy? You take a slow breath, take several of them, and be patient. Now you might go again to wheel pose. You might now do simple bridge pose with bound fingers. I'm gonna cue supported bridge, so if you don't have something, you could even roll up your mat and make it like a bolster. Put something under the base of your pelvis, across the back of the pelvis, not up into the length of the spine. And then let your legs tip forward, straighten them out if you can. Heels touch down, let the toes spill out, so it is kind of lazy. And then your arms can rest by your sides. You could take your arms up alongside your ears if that's interesting for you. And take a couple breaths and let gravity have your legs. Breath is still hopefully paced sweetly, but with less intensity from the throat. In the next few breaths, if you feel ready, bring your feet in. And if you do have something under your pelvis, take your legs straight up toward the ceiling, like legs up the wall without the wall. And just let your legs dangle, do as little as possible to keep them there. Take slow, steady breaths. And then you'll bend your knees, gently set your feet on the floor. Take the block or whatever out from underneath of you. Widen your feet, knock your knees, and take a couple breaths here in constructive rest. So just flat on. And then after you've had some time moving around from there, make your way up into a seat if possible. I'll turn to face you for this. You can take your legs to Tarasana. So think Baddha Konasana, but the feet are further away from your groin. So the diamond is long between heels and groin. And then fold And just let it be simple, fold like this. I like to put a block under the feet and wrap the arms under the outer ankle. So it's a variation of tortoise pose, Karmasana. And then you might press your heels together and flex your feet, and that'll create a lot more intensity. So you take or leave that. I'm just gonna chill my legs for this morning and just rest. You could have a second block or something between your forehead and your feet. But let your head drop. And move it around a little bit. Nod your head from side to side. Lift your chin up away from your chest. Drop it down towards your chest. See if you can find the top of your inhalation. Pause briefly. And find the very end of your exhalation. And pause briefly. In the next few breaths, if you feel ready to make your way upright, do that. You, if possible, will use a block under your hips or something under your hips to support you. And sit up tall. And if you have stuff going on, if you have kids running around, you can do whatever you need to do. If you have a few minutes, stick with it. Sit up tall. And you could rest your hands face down on your thighs. You rest them face up if that feels better. But situate your spine in a way that feels very long. So your brain is stacked over your heart center, is stacked over your hip center. And have a couple of steady breaths here. Breathe in steadily. Hold briefly at the peak, and then try to exhale for 6, 3. Approach empty, be there briefly. Breathe in comfortably, probably about 4. Hold at the peak. Try to exhale for 7. 4. Approach empty, be there briefly. Breathe in comfortably. Hold at the peak. Try to exhale 8. 4. Be empty briefly. Try it again. Breathe in for 4. Hold at the top. Exhale 8. 4. Take another cycle like that, or just start to breathe evenly. It's up to you. So I'll let you decide about your resting. So you could let that have been your rest, and we'll exit together like this. If you want to mute this or turn this off and set a timer for Shavasana, give yourself 3 or 5 or 8 minutes. But do mute this, because I'll probably stay on here and chat. People might want to chat and stuff. So if you're going to go do Shavasana, go do that. If this is enough and you're ready to exit your practice, I'll say thank you so much for joining this morning and for supporting the studio and the teachers, and just for being here, for being connected as much as we can be at this time. Thank you.